Okay, let's dive in. If you're creating content online these days, you probably know the feeling. It feels a bit like you're building this amazing thing, right? But on land that isn't really yours, always navigating algorithms, trying to figure out income streams that, well, they feel pretty unpredictable, constantly battling just to be seen.
Yeah, that sense of being subject to someone else's rules,
Mhm.
it's pervasive. So for this deep dive, our mission is to really explore an alternative path. We're digging into insights from an article called Launching Your Own Creator Social Network. And the core idea puts forward is, well, that creators can build their own digital homes. Maybe they even should.
Right, because the article starts by laying out that current reality, doesn't it? It talks about the inherent limitations creators face. It uses that exact analogy, building on rented land. You're stuck with the landlord's whims.
Exactly. And the article points out some key pain points, like, being totally at the mercy of algorithm, changes that can just tank your reach overnight, or dealing with monetization rules that are often really restrictive, limiting how you can actually earn, and just that constant, exhausting struggle for visibility in feeds that are already overcrowded.
Yeah, it leaves you feeling like that connection you have with your audience. It's not entirely direct, not fully yours. But this idea, launching your own network, it's presented as a pivot, a way to actually move past those limits and build a community space entirely on your terms.
And the article lays out 4 really compelling, potentially transformative benefits that could come from making that shift, from building that space yourself.
Okay, let's get into those. The first big one it highlights is supercharging monetization. How does owning your own network actually change the financial picture?
Fundamentally, it puts you in the driver's seat, financially speaking. The article makes the point that just relying on, say, standard platform payouts or occasional brand deals, it can be really unstable. But when you own the platform, you unlock multiple, often much more reliable ways to earn directly from your community. We're talking things like direct subscriptions and memberships, offering exclusive content, maybe early access, or an ad-free experience for a recurring fee. That creates a stable base income, which is something so many creators are looking for.
And it mentions selling content directly as well, like cutting out the middleman, the marketplaces.
Absolutely. That's the exclusive content sales idea. Selling digital goods, think courses, tutorials, maybe ebooks, digital art, behind-the-scenes stuff right there. In your network, you set the price. And crucially, you keep a much bigger slice of the pie because you're not handing over a massive commission to a third party.
Right, which makes that other point it mentioned, tiered access levels, really interesting. You can cater to different segments of your audience. People willing to support at different levels get different perks.
Precisely. Yeah. And even suggests other things, like virtual goods and gifting, sort of an interactive way for fans to show support. And even having integrated e-commerce, so you can sell your physical merch or services smoothly right within the community space.
So it's not just one new way to earn, it's the ability to build a whole little economy almost within your own community. And that bit about reduced platform fees, dodging those 30% or even higher commissions platforms often take, that must make a huge difference over time.
Oh, huge. Cutting those fees plus stacking these different monetization methods, it adds up to far greater financial independence, more resilience. For you listening, just imagine having that control, earning directly from your most dedicated fans without that big cut always being taken out. It changes the game.
Yeah, it really does shift the dynamic. Okay, let's talk about the second benefit the article stresses, cultivating deeper fan engagement and loyalty. How does an owned network actually change that audience relationship?
Well, it tackles that algorithm issue directly. On the big platforms, whether your fans actually see your post is kind of a lottery, right? Depends on some black box algorithm. In your own network, the article argues, communication is direct. It's unfiltered. When you post, your audience sees it, period. They don't have to hope the algorithm shows them your stuff, and you don't have to fight the algorithm just to reach them.
So it feels less like just shouting into a giant void and more actually talking to the people who've chosen to be there.
Exactly. And you get to shape the whole environment. The article talks about creating a customized community experience. You tailor the look, the feel, the features, maybe custom channels, forums, run Q&As, polls, whatever fits your brand and what your community actually wants. It lets you really facilitate enhanced interaction and feedback loops, real conversations.
And you control the atmosphere too. creating a safe and controlled environment, setting your own rules, your own moderation, so fans feel, comfortable and respected. That seems especially important for maybe niche communities or groups that might feel vulnerable elsewhere.
Definitely. It helps build this sense of real belonging that's just hard to get on a massive generic platform. And it also lets you properly identify and empower your superfans. Give them special recognition, maybe roles, exclusive access, turn your biggest supporters into active community champions.
What really jumps out there is how that directness, that tailored space, it seems like it would really deepen the connection. Fans feel like they're part of your specific world, this exclusive, caring community. It's not just following, it's belonging. Active membership.
Absolutely right. And that leads perfectly into the third benefit the article mentions, which kind of builds on that active membership idea. Harnessing user-generated content, UGC.
So getting your audience involved in creating too, not just consuming.
Precisely. The article's point is that your own network becomes this natural stage for your audience's creativity to flourish. When they share their own stuff, maybe it's fan art, detailed discussions, photos related to your niche, maybe tutorials they made inspired by you, it adds this layer of authenticity and social proof. Potential new members seeing enthusiastic fan content, that's powerful. It feels more genuine.
And I guess for the creator, it helps with the sheer amount of content needed, right? Like content variety and volume.
Yeah.
The community starts contributing, takes some pressure off you, maybe helps avoid that dreaded creator burnout.
Exactly. Huge benefit. And it also strengthens community bonds. When members are interacting with each other's creations, supporting each other, it builds this collective sense of ownership over the space. Plus, think about it, it becomes an organic marketing engine. When your fans share the cool UGC from your platform onto other social media, that drives awareness right back to your community, naturally.
And you could easily run things like contests and challenges focused on UGC right there within your own controlled environment. It really sounds like cultivating this vibrant little ecosystem, a self-sustaining thing where everyone involved with your brand benefits.
Which ties beautifully into the fourth benefit. And this one is, it's arguably critical for the long haul. Owning your data, owning your future.
Right, because on the big platforms, the analytics you get are often pretty limited, aren't they? You don't really get deep insights into your audience.
Exactly. The article is very clear. Owning the network means owning the data, full stop. And that gives you much, much deeper audience insights, direct access to analytics on, user behavior, what content hits, what doesn't, engagement patterns, the works.
That kind of detailed info has got to be gold for actually refining your content and strategy.
It's invaluable. It gives you crucial independence from algorithmic shifts. Your ability to understand your audience, to reach them, it isn't suddenly destroyed because some platform changed its secret sauce. You have a direct line. The article points out you can build your own direct communication channels, like your own email list function or notification system built right into your platform.
So you're never completely cut off from the people who actually want to hear from you.
Precisely. And ultimately, the article argues this helps future-proof your brand. In this digital world that's always shifting, having that security, that control over your audience relationship and your brand's path forward, that's just paramount. Understanding your community deeply is how you navigate what comes next.
Okay, so the picture the article paints is, frankly, incredibly appealing. More control, deeper connections, better monetization, real ownership. But the elephant in the room for most creators listening has to be, is this actually doable? For me. Doesn't launching a whole network sound incredibly technical and expensive?
And the article tackles that head on. It acknowledges that, traditionally, building something like this was a massive undertaking. Huge technical challenges, loads of development time, ongoing maintenance costs. It seemed out of reach for most.
But then it says the game is changing.
Right. It immediately pivots to how the landscape is evolving, fast. It highlights that new solutions are popping up specifically designed to drastically lower that barrier to entry for creators. The article actually points to examples of platforms built precisely for this, making it way quicker, easier, and much more affordable than it used to be.
It even mentions a specific example, right? Something like Web4 by Linkspreed as the kind of platform available now, saying it's designed so creators can build their own space without needing to be a coding genius and can even start for free.
Yeah, that's the example the article uses, just illustrating that these tools exist now. It's presented as concrete evidence that those technical hurdles, the ones that maybe seemed insurmountable before, are becoming much less of a roadblock for creators thinking about this path. It shows the how is finally starting to catch up with the why,
Okay, so if we pull all these threads together, The frustrations with the rented land model, the power of having your own home, those 4 huge benefits we discussed, and this idea that it's becoming more feasible. What does this actually mean for you, the listener, thinking about your own creative path?
I think the core takeaway from the source material is this. That control, that deep engagement, those diverse income streams, that true ownership, they're not just pipe dreams anymore. The article presents them as increasingly achievable goals for creators right now in today's environment.
It really hammers home that final thought from the article, doesn't it? About shifting focus. Stop building purely on rented land and start laying your own foundation. It's about taking back some agency.
Yeah, building something that's genuinely centered on that unique connection you have with your audience and doing it on your terms.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, looking at the ideas in that article, the advantages of having your own network seem pretty clear. Taking charge of your own destiny, building much deeper community bonds, and setting up income streams that aren't totally dependent on outside forces.
Yeah, it's definitely a powerful shift in perspective to consider.
Right. So maybe here's a final thought for you to chew on. Building on this whole idea of ownership versus just renting space, what incredible things could you actually build with your audience if you weren't hemmed in by someone else's rules, their platform design, or their unpredictable algorithms?